let me just say this. I don't want you to go anywhere near me, otherwise I'm going to get the police involved and you're going to ruin my life.
Koi is a 31-year-old Splatoon YouTuber with over 100,000 subscribers. She's known for making Splatoon lyric videos pertaining to songs from the popular Nintendo IP. She's no stranger to my channel, as I've made several videos discussing her overall behavior towards minors in the community, me included. From having a not safe for work channel easily accessible to a minor audience, from talking about inappropriate 18+ encounters on several platforms such as Twitter and YouTube, knowing full well her audience are majorly minors, to even allowing one of her minor friends to access her 18+ Twitter. And to tie this up with a neat bow, she would use her many disabilities, some of which are self-diagnosed, to justify her behavior. To summarize, Caitlin Coy is a manipulative and predatory creep who shouldn't be trusted with a minor audience whatsoever. Even taking all of this into account, this isn't even scratching the surface. It's just when we thought she hit rock bottom, she suddenly took out a shovel and started digging. Bluntly speaking, Caitlin Coy worked with someone who wanted to take my life. All because I made videos documenting spreading awareness and calling her out for endangering countless minors in the Splatoon community. Caitlin has never formally taken accountability, nor apologized for this disgusting behavior. To this day, she will use every excuse in the book to discredit me, her main detractor, in an attempt to gain sympathy and save the remaining crumbs of her integrity. I'm not even joking. Caitlin went as far as to sympathy bait and trauma dump on several minors, even me included at the time. Caitlin's actions were so bad, so severe, it got to the point other creators, who were also minors, had to step in and tell this 30-year-old woman what she was doing was utterly disgusting. I don't think I need to express how minors telling a grown adult what's right and wrong is a testament to how sick this woman is. I implore you to share, like, comment, and even hype this video because Caitlin shouldn't get away with what she tried to do to me. When I was a minor, I was being targeted by a notorious and self-admitted doxer in the Splatoon community known as Tough. Tough owned a popular at the time Splatoon art server known as Ink Royalty. In said server, there were several allegations that not only Tough, but also his staff members were doxing and wishing harm on their server members. Like, upon doing research on this, I saw several testimonies regarding him on Twitter. To put this into perspective, let's have a quick exploration of Tough's character. He made fun of an SA victim on several occasions, is a self-admitted doxer, works with the staff to intimidate his server members. Heck, I had someone coming to me personally claiming Tough doxed them. Needless to say, this guy was a danger to the Splatoon community. So imagine my surprise when Caitlin Coy joined the server of this individual, was close enough to the point she not only had her own custom role, but was also invited to a private channel where Tough and his closest friends would gossip about their many victims. In the private channel, Tough would psychotically fantasize about taking my life. He'd go from envisioning himself straight up ending me, all at once by the way, sending people to do it on his behalf, to wanting to torture me instead, claiming death's an escape.
Go back. It said like if he's black, relax, but he's black. That's racist.
A reminder, Tough outwardly admitted he knew where I lived. Caitlin was present in these chats and only began having second thoughts the moment someone posted a screenshot of a comment from under one of my videos, which was in support of me. After said comment was sent, she said, I quote, "When I see new screencasts of people agreeing with him, I get siege auras."
For context, Caitlin has claimed she has non-epileptic seizures. Apparently, seizure auras work as essentially a warning someone is about to experience said seizure. Caitlin is basically saying, seeing text on her screen which disagree with her, causes her to seize.
Quite odd that disability only flares up when she sees a comment which is against and not glazing her. I'm not claiming she's faking her seizures, far from it, but seeing as Caitlin has self-diagnosed before, I'm not exactly confident. Being in a private channel where they're plotting to ruin my life or even take it from me. You see a screenshot of someone not being nice to you. I kid you not, Caitlin didn't think of leaving a server where they're blatantly fantasizing about harming a kid, if not worse, until she saw a comment, a literal YouTube comment, which was in my favor and not hers. I might have to leave. This just cements the notion of Caitlin being a horrible, heinous person who was perfectly fine with the potential coordination against a child just as long as they were against her. The excuse of just being irresponsible doesn't work here anymore. This is bordering criminal activity, if at the very least, dangerous. In the event I actually lost my life, Caitlin would have been an accomplice. Imagine how I felt, knowing a grown woman went as far as to collaborate with a psycho who not only flaunted his many exploits, but made it overtly transparent he wanted me to suffer, or worse. An apology could never resolve what she has done to me personally. The fear I felt she'd go this far just to get to me, let alone what she has done to other children in the community. But it just baffles me how throughout the years, Caitlin has adamantly refused to even attempt a formal response taking accountability. If I never made my videos on her, she would have probably gone away with everything. It scares me someone like this still has supporters, let alone people who will obsessively defend her action. I mean, Tough is actively one of those people.
Caitlin Coy, go rest. I got this.
Caitlin diligently made it a point she didn't care what Tough was plotting against me, counting it wouldn't link back to her, as she said, I quote, "Well, as long as you are mentioning me." Those 8 words single-handedly shattered the remaining tatters of goodwill she had in the situation. She is overtly making it clear she doesn't care what happens to me, nor what Tough intends to do, counting no one knows she took any part in it. This is malicious, deceptive, and just plain revolting. If it wasn't already obvious, not only did she have the partner role in Tough's server, but like I said prior, she also had her own custom role. It is unmistakable Caitlyn was aware of what Tough was planning to do to me, a man at the time, and was also closely affiliated. I could not stress this enough. I've had several grown adults attempting to gaslight me into believing I was somehow in the wrong here. A woman in her 30s conspired with someone plotting my own. Of course I'm going to make videos covering this. Hold on for this one, as things are going to get messy. Caitlyn Coy sending children and her many middle-aged friends to stalk me and my Discord server is nothing new. I actually made a video talking about how she got a 30-year-old roommate to stalk me and my server when I was a minor. I'm not joking. She unironically got a grown man to harass me, a literal child at the time, because I dared to make videos discussing her behavior towards me and many minors in the community. Although unfortunately, seeing as there's an entire library of videos dedicated to her, she obviously doesn't know when to quit, as she went on to send a predator into my server to spy on me next. But before we get into this, a bit of context. I had a viewer called Nightmare Eyes. I'll call him Nightmare for simplicity's sake. Nightmare showed up to a few of my streams and was an active follower on my private Twitter. We got into actual contact on the 4th of February 2025. As when I asked on said private Twitter who wanted 4 months of YouTube Premium, he was the first person who shot me a DM. From there, we moved it from Twitter to Discord, of which I sent him the YouTube Premium code. Following this, nothing necessarily of note took place. We spoke every now and then, until he mentioned a few of my artworks he had saved. This point will be somewhat important later. Although it didn't take long for the cracks in Nightmare Eyes persona to present themselves. As many of you may know, I used text-to-speech in my old videos, and the guy was curious which one I specifically used, to which I obviously gatekept. But his response was just so ironic I had to mention it here. Nightmare said, I quote, "Bro be keeping too many secrets. Hey man, listen, I know you don't know me well, but I don't snitch. It's too taxing."
Are you sure?
This is where things got uncomfortable. Seeing as he had a direct line to me, Nightmare would persistently ask to call me, even after I alluded to him I wasn't exactly interested. Asked to be on my streams, even oinked for me. Yes, this is a real thing this guy did.
Oink. Oink. Yeah, you're enjoying this, aren't you? You can tell me if you can tell me. Oink. Oink. You dirty slut.
At times like this, we ask ourselves deep questions. Is there a God? How could he let this happen? Who did this to me? Who can I sue?
Called me his favorite yellow femboy, and more. To be blunt, I didn't have the heart to tell him to f*** off. I'm not good with setting proper boundaries, nor regarding subjects of this nature. He presented himself as a big fan of me, and my content apparently. Quite periodically actually. And while I generally should have made my boundaries clear, I don't know, I think coming off this strong, 100% unironically by the way, is something you shouldn't do? Like, the guy is over 3 if not 4 years older than me. He should have without a doubt known better. But back to the call thing, I'd give him time limits on how long he could call me. And while he would typically beg for more, I think I made it quite clear I wasn't too interested. I don't care how socially inept you are, if someone is giving you a time limit of 2 minutes to call you, not even 5, I don't think they like you, buddy. Either way, he was an active member in my community, and at this point restricted this odd behavior to mostly DMs. My server members seemed to like him, and he didn't do anything wrong to them, or my server for that matter, so I realistically had no concrete reason to ban him. Server members being weird in my DMs was nothing new. Usually they'd either become disinterested or mellow out over time. Although this was not the case with Nightmare Eyes, as the one time I actually gave him a chance, since this guy loved to beg in my DMs, and I thought giving him what he wanted just this once would make him stop being a nuisance, I actually called him for longer than 10 minutes. In the call, it started off quite normal, until the last 15-ish minutes, he went on to overstep the very little boundaries I have. In it, Nightmare admitted to whacking his Johnson to my artwork.
Well, can I be honest? Can I be honest about something? And please, can we please keep this a secret? I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who say this, but okay. Well, for example, shit, hang on. I saved these 2 images recently.
Let me see. Oh, my artwork?
Yeah, the first one I forgot to make the arm longer. That one sucks. The second one has to toastify one. Yeah.
This one's old. The second one's old. It's really good, actually.
It's still good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's one of my best works. I don't think I've been able to replicate it since.
Didn't you put out a tweet once saying like those people actually like busting a nut to it?
Yeah, I was surprised because like, who is doing that?
Well, I might have busted a nut to a few of your artworks. I actually have a few in like a folder somewhere. Oh yeah, here's some of the other ones I have. I think I sent this the other day.
Yeah, that's the one of spinning. I don't think he does.
Yeah, I've been on meet that one a couple times.
Please stop it. Please stop it. Please stop it.
Jesus Christ, the amount of times it's up to now.
I almost puked, but let me stay focused.
He then proceeded to skip the middleman and just started whacking said Johnny to me, in call, or without my consent.
Your voice is so cute.
Is it? That's the first time I'm hearing that.
vAqeii.
Yeah, that's me.
vAqeii.
Yeah.
vAqeii.
Yeah.
Damn. vAqeii.
Yeah.
Can you do your sexy girl voice?
I'm not pulling anyone anything. I am a bitchless, rizless, hoe-less, 5'9", chud, incel. It was over before it began. The truth is the game was rigged from the start.
Even ignoring the lack of consent here, this was just plain disturbing. There were several reasons as to why this video was put off, which I'll mention later, but it should be quite apparent this was one of them. I cannot stress how uncomfortable this made me. I wouldn't even wish this upon my worst enemy. With this in mind, I don't think I need to further prove this guy was utterly obsessed with me. But now we have the context. Imagine my surprise, the sheer whimsy on my face, when I was given an anonymous tip both Naima Eyes and Caitlin Coy were working together. To be completely honest, I was under the impression that the Naima Eyes guy probably had some sort of ulterior motive. I just didn't know what the exact plan was, the severity, and nor could I actually prove it. I don't know, maybe don't talk about not snitching almost non-stop in our conversations. You could have won! Hence why on my server, I constantly nudged the guy with how I'd interact with him, hoping he'd just fess up. So when I received the tip, it wasn't entirely left field. It was more of a, oh, I guess that makes sense, kind of thing. Like, you have no idea how many times Caitlin has sent one of her drones into my server, all for the sake of spying on me. It got to a point where I was not only numb to it, but my server had turned it into an inside joke. But I digress. After getting such info, I obviously confronted Naima Eyes. He wasn't happy. After pressing him, Naima started sparking out, before eventually screen sharing his DMs with Caitlin. And holy crap, not even Batman, tied up, bomb strapped to my chest, 2 minutes until detonation, could get me to leave even a fraction of the messages in there. I don't even know what to say. Caitlin just started having intercourse with this guy. Over half of these conversations I can't even begin to describe on YouTube. It's that detailed. You have no idea how uncomfortable reading these DMs were. Like, after they finished their goon sessions, they'd immediately revert to bringing me back up, and vice versa. For instance, one moment Naima Eyes is talking about me being live, how I mentioned her at the end of my stream, and I'm making a video on her, the next they're talking about being
Almost puked, but let me stay focused.
I'm so serious when I say I didn't want to read any of this, so I got 2 amazing volunteers.
Vibrator ran out of power.
Oh no.
Charging it right now. So unfair.
Rip.
I need it to get off.
Oh, you will soon.
It's so unfair. God, I just want both of you. I want a sausage in my pudding. I could sit facing each other, both touching, so I could bounce on top of both of you.
Take it down. We need it going.
I wish you were here and could just slip your hog in. My legs are open and waiting.
Don't let your kids watch it! You are gonna love this one! No! I get it!
It's funny, as Caitlin ends up saying, don't even tell your close friends about this. Oh, the scandal. Quite humorous, as Naima told so many of his friends, who weren't even from my server by the way, that it somehow made its way back to me. But now we have the appetizer out of the way, I'll speed blitz through my personal favourites. Just a heads up, most of the screenshots aren't mine, as they were sent to me anonymously in video form, so expect the quality to be just as bad, I mean just as good as my microphone.
If you don't get that bullshit out of my face, bitch.
Nightmare alerts Caitlin I'm live. Nightmare claims both he and Caitlin will take me down. Caitlin admits she got a reminder to investigate me, to which Naima Eyes retorts saying, guess I'm not the only undercover agent. She makes the claim, I quote, it just feels so wrong knowing he was so young, and he is still young.
See, I almost just punched you right.
This proves Caitlin is fully aware as a 31-year-old woman, it's morally reprehensible to send children to spy on people! This will be so ironic later, it's actually sickening. Caitlin continues to admit she had a group of people spying on me, something she has stated in her Discord server as well. In her server she stated, I quote, and the sleuths, which are all the people actively working to collect dirt on this guy. Yes, here Caitlyn admits to getting a group of people to essentially stalk me to get quote-unquote dirt to exonerate herself. Instead of Caitlyn just owning up to how she has a nasty streak of endangering kids, she'll instead opt to organize her friends and just stalk me. This is the same woman who will turn around and claim she's being stalked, by the way. Naima then goes on to tell Caitlyn why I said in VC, claiming I stated I used to be a fan of her, but then I grew out of her content. Yes, I used to be a viewer of Caitlyn when I was about 14, then I grew out of her content. Much like other creators I used to watch at the time, like Aftermath, Sam Gladiator, Vfantastic, you name it, I grew up. I am living proof most of our audience are literal children. The woman literally makes Splatoon lyric videos. I do not know anyone above the age of 16 who unironically watches her content enough to be an avid viewer, let alone a fan. However, for some reason she says, thank goodness you're recording it.
Get a job now.
Not only does this prove Caitlyn encouraged Naima Ice to record me just hanging out on my server voice chat, but also proves this was part of her end goal. I just don't know what to say. This just proves Caitlyn was intentionally trying to spy on both me and my Discord server. Caitlyn says, I quote, you recording your calls will eventually capture something incriminating. Yes, I am not joking. Caitlyn sent this creep to stalk me, praying on her hands and knees, desperate, hoping to God I say something in her words incriminating. This is actually repulsive. Please, vAqeii, say something I can take out of context so I can discredit you. Caitlyn, being so self-conscious about what teenagers think and or say about her, then asks Nightmare, how often do they talk about me?
Get a job now.
My name is Caitlyn Coy, and I am desperate to know what the teenagers of the vAqeii server think of me. Following this, Caitlyn says, I quote, I knew he was obsessed with me. I didn't realize the severity. Anyway, Caitlyn then simultaneously downplays and admits she made inappropriate comments on live streams where minors were present. I call it downplaying as she stated, where some minors were most likely present. Anyway, here's a clip of Caitlyn admitting she's fully aware her viewers are most likely children.
Kids are watching. Kids are watching. Kids are watching. Kids are watching. I am just aware that younger members may be here. So I'm not gonna talk about not safe for work topics.
Not shy with men. I'm basically in control of the conversation because I'm like, I know that my words are in control of his pants.
Ah! It sucks having a pretty young fan base on YouTube. Ah!
You're a sick fuck. Caitlyn will haphazardly admit to doing this in the safety of her gooning partner, but will persistently refuse to take accountability for this publicly. You publicly said these statements in front of your young audience, to the point you're making Reddit posts essentially joking about traumatizing kids, but will only admit it in the comfort of DMs she was under the impression would never leak.
What? Oh no, see that's what we not about to do. Police, lock his ass up.
So remember how I put Nightmare Eyes on the timer, essentially limiting how long he could call me? Well, the guy proceeded to complain about not only that in Caitlyn's DMs, but also how I told him if he wanted to call me longer, he'd have to buy me Nitro. He said, I quote, bro, he's making me buy Nitro for him. The message in question, I hope to be pregnant with Nitro, 8 months worth.
I can explain.
Yes, these guys are so malicious that me making a joke about being pregnant with Nitro was somehow escalated into, he's making me buy Nitro for him. Any normal person would understand this was an obvious joke. The guy would pester me to call almost non-stop. It was obsessive to the point of discomfort, so I gave an unserious response.
We do a little trolling, it's called we do a little trolling.
Issue is, we forget we aren't dealing with normal people, as the school and lovers took this as an Avengers level threat. Put you on a timer? Yes, 2 minutes. This guy, oh my god. Dude, we need to find someone who can expose all of this. I can't believe I actually have to say this, but I don't actually want to be 8 months pregnant with Discord Nitro. I'm actually so confused. Why is she acting like I've done something wrong by not wanting to talk to this guy any longer than 2 minutes?
Look at him, tearing up because he didn't get his way.
How dare that vAqeii loser not want to talk to my spy? I mean, my intuition was quite literally on the nose, because when I did, he started tugging his mini nightmare. Maybe he felt comfortable doing this with Caitlyn, as it's confirmed he had many calls like this, and that's perfectly fine, they're both adults, who cares? But I am not her! Please don't do this! After I released my follow-up video on Caitlyn, Nightmare obviously asked her if she watched it at all, to which she denied, claiming they're horrible for her mental health. Caitlyn has had this mentality where she can't look at any criticism her way, or well, refuses to, because of her mental health. You're 31! This grown woman has used this excuse for years now. You're not her baby! This is something I'd expect a neurodivergent teenager to say, not a woman in her 30s. Some lore for those who aren't in the Splatoon community. Caitlyn used to block people who dared to criticize her on Twitter, like I mean non-stop. In some cases, she called it harassment. If I pulled half of her stance and claimed, well, mental health, I'd get lynched! Hey, I think it's kinda bad to expose minors to adult content. No! my mental health! Leave me alone! Last but not least, vAqeii just went on to dox my name to Caitlyn. He claimed when I was in the VC, I was called by my actual name and went dead silent. Yeah, getting doxed with a call does that to people, I think. I mentioned this in my prior Caitlyn video, but my name was originally leaked by my group, so everyone who didn't learn of my accord got it from a literal predator. It's ironic he went on to leak this, as Nightmare said this.
Do you not like to be referred by like your actual name?
Nope, not at all, because it was originally doxed.
Oh,
yeah.
Delusional minds think alike, as 7 months later, Caitlyn went on to also dox my name, just this time publicly, although despite how it seems Caitlyn got my dox from vAqeii, that's far from the case, and you'll see why later. The rest of the leaks are either them just uncomfortably flirting, or just small things like Nightmare showing Caitlyn screenshots from my server, telling Caitlyn my upload plans, telling her I'm live, Nightmare ironically saying he's on her side, and how he won't turn on her, and just him genuinely simping for her, to the point even she was weirded out. She also thought I released my follow-up video on her, just in time for her and her boyfriend's anniversary. For some reason. This one's just terminally online and sad, not even I know how to respond to it. So this really begs the question, what were the next steps? Hey, I just wanted to add this on since I feel like this should be mentioned either way. I know this should already be a given, but just because Caitlyn and a group of enablers are obsessed with not only stalking me, but my Discord server, doesn't mean I want anyone doing the same to her. Yes, the situation is weird, uncomfortable, bordering the line of criminal, if not already, but two wrongs don't make a right. With this in mind, this video isn't an invitation to harass her either. It's to document, spread awareness, and to entertain. Not an excuse whatsoever to go after her. I know Caitlyn has done an array of horrible, vile things, and seeing how much time is left in the video, it only gets significantly worse from here. But in no way does that mean I condone any witch hunting behavior towards her. You will achieve literally nothing by harassing her. If anything, doing so only gives her more of an excuse to claim all of her criticisms are harassment. So please, do not harass her, nor anyone else I mention in this video. Preceding the confrontation, the following took place. I banned vAqeii. The anonymous tip revealed they were not only a minor, Nightmare knew of their age, and that he disclosed the adult content within said DMs to them, such as very not safe for work, the inappropriate conversations, and even Caitlyn's indecent pictures. On top of this, Nightmare also showed Sonic not safe for work to the same kid.
I wish some of y'all would put a blindfold on and walk.
Wait, so you're like 15 or 16 now?
Yeah. Why?
Oh no, I was just asking, it's just, you sound pretty young.
If that wasn't worse enough, after the news of vAqeii being a Caitlyn Koi spy broke, it came out he was talking inappropriately with not only my server members, but minors who were also in my friend's server as well. He added them, made a group chat, and sent messages talking about how he goons to Steven Universe characters, how much of a degenerate he is, and at some point, sent a screenshot which had very not safe for work in the top left corner. There are apparently more conversations, but the minors in question claimed they were too uncomfortable to share them. One of them, as young as saw all of this. I guess being a creep to children was integral for the information gathering.
That man should be arrested immediately.
This only gets more increasingly concerning when you realize this information would have probably never come out if I didn't leak to my server members he was spying for Caitlyn. In the event this was never made public, chances are Nightmare would have successfully my server members, and by the time I found out, it would have been far too late. As someone who has personally been this generally still haunts me, even 10 months later. So not only did Caitlyn send this guy to SH me, but he went on to talk inappropriately with literal children, showing them not safe for work, all while playing secret agent. Caitlyn Koi has shown that she's such a she'll not only expose children to adult topics and content on numerous occasions, but the one time she does engage in this behavior of someone of age, they're a potential predator. Just how many chances and excuses are we going to give this woman until we can finally call her a predator? In the past, I've told my server members specifically not to call her a pred, because I genuinely wanted to be good faith, but after lining all of her behavior up one after the other, it literally gets to a point. It gets to a point where you look like an utter madman attempting to excuse his behavior, and the rest of the video will only further prove this.
Yeah, F because I'm female. Being a girl is not an excuse.
Caitlyn is not a child. She is not a teenager. She is not a young adult. This is a grown woman in her 30s. I refuse to believe she expects us to infantilize her to such a degree where the justification of this behavior becomes expectation. The fact I've grown to just recognize Caitlyn's actions as anticipated and on brand for her is a testament to how much of a pattern this is. Still, I shouldn't expect a grown woman to send people to stalk me. I shouldn't expect a grown woman to work with people who want to harm me. I shouldn't expect a grown woman to make a 6GB folder dedicated to me when I was a minor. I shouldn't expect a grown woman to be so careless around children. I especially shouldn't expect her to disregard all and any forms of criticism levied her way. None of this is normal. Just how many excuses will she get? Many ask why I didn't just get rid of him, and in hindsight, I obviously should have. I saw the red flags, I knew something was up, but seeing as how dedicated he was, like the guy literally oinked for me.
Oink, oink, oink. Oink.
I didn't know what to do. I stated in my Starve channel at the time, I was used to people slinging insults, threats, slurs, you name it. But this was entirely different. I was genuinely overwhelmed. This situation was made harder for me, as when I tried talking about this to other, older creators, putting myself in a vulnerable position, they only use this as an excuse to chastise me. I seeked advice from people older than me, and was met with the exact opposite expectation. I was put in a position where I didn't know what to do, and was even mocked for asking for help. I have far too much experience with obsessive people latching onto me, and the moment I attempt to cut ties, they immediately turn their obsession into hatred. I don't talk about this nearly enough, as I'd like to avoid giving attention to bad actors like this, which is genuinely insane. The concern here was that Nightmare Eyes would do the same thing. I didn't know how to properly defuse the situation, or if I'd just make it unintentionally worse. Caitlyn has made it a point to work with anyone, and I mean literally anyone who dislikes and or wishes to harm me, whether it be socially or potentially physically. She's even gone out of her way to work with children and predators if it meant achieving her goals. This is a behavior of a vindictive manipulator, and unfortunately, this isn't even the beginning of it. Remember the 6GB folder she made on me when I was a child? The only reason it was leaked was because she gave it to a creator who switched sides once he realized how deceitful Caitlyn was. She's unironically so desperate to get one up on me, instead of just taking accountability for endangering children, it's bordering psychosis.
Are you a
I'm not even joking. When I was a minor, Caitlyn enlisted a 14-year-old to spy on both me and my Discord server. I know I mentioned prior there were inside jokes regarding Caitlyn Coy spies in my server, but that's simply because it was so much of a common occurrence. I don't even know what to say. The woman was utterly obsessed with both me and the teenagers in my server. It's ironic, as Caitlyn has gone on record claiming, "People keep DMing me things about him. I have never once asked for it," in regards to me. When in the screenshot provided by the minor, Caitlyn is seen saying, "Please send them to me."
Yeah, that brother's starving.
Please, y'all, tell me what's going on in the vAqeii server. I don't think I need to explain why a grown woman using a literal child to spy on another child is a disgusting, creepy thing to do. For someone who doesn't want to hear whatever I'm apparently pulling in my server,
You ain't fooling nobody. You ain't fooling nobody.
you seem to really want to know what goes on in there, considering you were gladly in cahoots with a child. I just can't comprehend why she's constantly lying or concealing the fact she's obsessed with stalking me. It really makes you think, if she's willing to lie about something realistically this inconsequential, what else could she be lying about? But going back to the point of Caitlyn uniting with anyone and everyone who dislikes me for whatever reason, she has recently joined forces with the creator Lyle Convoy. For those who are unaware, Lyle Convoy is a 40-year-old content creator who has a long, grotesque history of offenses. To name a few, he's known for doxing people and threatening children, harassing people with disabilities, most notably a woman known as Rosa. Lyle has a notorious interaction coined the Rosa Call, where he berates a disabled woman for 3.5 hours, and on top of this, makes it apparent he intentionally picks on those with poor mental health and or just disabled in general. Needless to say, this guy is a psycho. I will link several sources in the description. So imagine the glee on my face when Caitlyn Coy yet again decides to ally herself with someone of this nature. For a bit of context, Lyle decided to start drama with me because I was playing Undertale in his friend's VC. I really wish I was joking. He likes to deny this is why he initiated the drama, because it's genuinely embarrassing, and to be blunt, makes him look insane. But the video I made on him quite literally proves this. I assumed Lyle thought I was just another mentally weak teenager he could pick on. But I digress. Caitlyn has actually made a now deleted comment acknowledging Lyle is a horrible person, but because he's defending her predatory behavior, she doesn't care. Yes, Caitlyn Coy unironically made a wall of text justifying Lyle's actions because he enables her sickening behavior. The comment is quite long, so I'll summarize. Caitlyn starts off claiming she used to hate him until he reached out to her. She calls me an instigator, insinuates the claims I've levied towards her are lies. This will be a great one to debunk, don't worry. Goes on to acknowledge the Rosa Call, calls it disgusting, before stating she used to hate him yet again for some reason. But because Lyle defended her publicly and was nice to her behind the scenes, she's essentially willing to disregard the way he tormented a disabled woman. She also claims Lyle checks in on her once a month, before ending off the comment just glazing the 40-year-old man even more.
You know that flapping thing you were doing with your mouth just then?
You mean glazing Daddy Convoy?
Yeah, that. No more of that.
To summarize yet again, Caitlyn is fully aware of Lyle's actions, but simply doesn't care because he's on her side. Lyle even attempted to sweep for the tough situation, claiming, "I've actually been shown the DMs where Caitlyn got onto tough for what he was saying." And? No, I genuinely mean this. And? The segment I made dedicated to the situation nullifies anything she could have possibly said to the guy in DMs. He was literally talking about putting me 6 feet under, and yet, Caitlyn made the choice to stay until she saw a comment which made her feel uncomfy.
It's supposed to be cute.
You think ignorance is cute? Well, I suppose you think mental retardation is downright adorable.
Like I said prior in a hypothetical sense, if I was put in a casket, Caitlyn would have been an accomplice. In the event she saw what took place and immediately left, this wouldn't have been a problem. I'm not going to allow anyone to excuse this. If you're in a private channel where someone is actively orchestrating putting someone into an early grave, let alone a child, and you only consider leaving after seeing a comment criticizing you, you are a psycho. However, remember when I mentioned Caitlyn doxed my first name? Shortly after Lyo and Caitlyn teamed up, Lyo went on to dox my first name wherever he could.
So, actually, I'm just here to say, Vincent, I don't know why you're in here trying to cause a ruckus. You belong in an unmarked, shallow grave, Vincent. And I don't mean that hyperbolically, metaphorically, any of that. I mean that literally. Die. I wanted to hop on and give Vincent some grief. Oh, speaking of which, Ace, how did you like my final call with Vincent there?
Coincidentally, that's when Caitlyn decided to join in. I know Nightmare Eyes originally doxed my name to her, but I just find it so intriguing she only began spreading it once Lyo did. Yes, both Lyo Convoy and Caitlyn Coy were gladly spreading the dox my abuse initially leaked.
For context, when I was a minor, I was SI'd by the same predator who then went on to make a Google Doc lying and framing me. In said document, they proceeded to dox me. This is where anyone knowing my name originated from.
In hindsight, seeing as Lyo has wished for me on numerous occasions, I can see why Caitlyn was immediately drawn to him.
I'm actually just going to be to the point here. For somebody specifically like you who I have severe questions about at this point, I just hope somebody doxes you, swats you, and then you get shot.
Hey, vAqeii, why don't you go ahead and... All right, and when you're done with that, grab a knife, put it in your... vAqeii, put a knife...
I beg your pardon.
Okay, so I can't say specifically what he asked me to do because it's literally not allowed on the platform. But he wants me to get object that you used to cook and play the violin on my neck with that object that you used to cook. 40-year-old man saying this to a teenager, by the way.
I better get out of here while I still can.
Caitlyn, I doubt you'll watch this, so to the friends of hers who will watch it on her behalf, I do not like Caitlyn. I think that's evident. But Lyo has a history of specifically targeting disabled people. Please do your research on this. Caitlyn is fully aware of this fact. He's only using her to get to me. The guy sat in the court making fun of a disabled woman for over 3 hours. He doesn't care about her. I don't think Lyo cares about anyone. The guy lacks empathy. He is using her, much like he has used others in the past. Whether or not you choose to heed my warning is up to you. But if you actually cared about her, you wouldn't be allowing any of this to take place.
And Caitlyn Coy has done some things that need to be addressed. Some.
vAqeii! This is the
Since Caitlyn loves to call all of her allegations lies, I've compiled most of her worst actions into a bite-sized segment, just so we can all be on the same page, of course. Feel free to skip to the timestamp on screen, or this segment in its entirety. Caitlyn Coy has allowed her minor friend to look at her 18+ Twitter, claiming said friend of hers was mature. This is ironic, as Caitlyn made the point she doesn't allow minors to view her 18+ Twitter, but apparently this minor was just mature enough. She had a public server which was 16+, where you could access a not safe for work channel, of which they had people under the age requirement present in the server anyways. The moment I joined said Discord server, I never spoke a word, and yet I was immediately banned with the not safe for work channel getting suddenly locked down. A reminder, I never sent a single message in there. Caitlyn hid her 18+ channel, not because she was quite literally breaking the law, but because she was guilty and knew I'd exposed her for creating an environment where children could access not safe for work. The fact she was more afraid of internet cancellation over breaking the law is insanity. A reminder, the in the 16+ server wasn't removed until I made a video bringing light to their presence, but I was banned immediately. Very curious. I've also critiqued Caitlyn Coy for talking inappropriately on her live streams. Said streams she has stated on several occasions were family friendly. Caitlyn is fully aware most of her YouTube viewers are minors, and yet, well, the clips speak for themselves. Now for the holy grail, Caitlyn has gone on to talk about adult subjects on her streams, the same streams she acknowledged are mostly watched by children on numerous occasions.
I am just aware that younger members may be here. So I'm not going to talk about not safe for work topics, but I will swear.
You really cannot make this up. Caitlyn has made the claim her YouTube, yes, her YouTube streams were family friendly and her Twitch streams were not. Fair enough, until you realize she can't even abide by her own rules.
Oh, I remember this one time that, I don't know exactly what was going on, but my Chinese teacher was hooked up her computer, and there was some kind of a PowerPoint presentation or some kind of a DVD, and something popped up. It was like softcore porn. Like, what the f? You you ask me how Patreon works, I tell you how it works, and then you think I'm asking money for sex? What? So like, there's some guys on Tinder that are just like, and we had quite a good time, and I assure you, no matter how ugly you think I am, I get more action than you do. You're not gonna have sex? Here's the thing, I know how to talk to men. I know exactly what to say to men to immediately get them interested in wanting to come over that very same night and have a little bit of 18+ fun. I know exactly how to talk to men. Wait, you have sex? Like, yeah, when I talk to men, I know exactly what to say. I know that I'm in the position of like, I have something that you want. So you kind of have to, you know, sex, that's just like mechanics. I don't really, like, what do you want me to do? Amazing, Rayquaza, your mother should have swallowed you so you didn't end up finding an egg and coming onto this world just to curse us with the burden of your existence. Not shy with men. I'm basically in control of the conversation because I'm like, I know that my words are in control of his pants, essentially. Because, I don't know, catching a man's attention is easier than catching a cold on Tinder, okay? So.
As a woman,
my words are control of the man's pants.
As a woman.
Oh yes, talking about how you can control a man's genitals is something I'd watch with the entire family. You can't just acknowledge your viewers are mostly minors and then talk about such topics.
Peanut butter jelly. No. It's a song by RuPaul. Don't look it up. Don't look it up if you're a minor. Okay. God damn it. It sucks having a pretty young fan base on YouTube. It sucks having a pretty young fan base on YouTube. It sucks having a pretty young fan base on YouTube.
In some of those instances, there were minors in the call, by the way. It was so bad that another content creator who was also a child had to call her out for this. About how most of her detractors started out as children, none of the few adult friends she had, since she has a lot of minor friends for a 30-year-old, called her out on this.
If you are backing this, you are an enabler. Yeah? You are an enabler. I'm sick of it.
But since we're on the topic of Kaylin Coy being inappropriate in video form, Kaylin also had a TikTok of which she would make videos like these.
No these, my thighs, my plump fleshy loins, my beefy thunderclappers, my jiggly wiggly earthquakers, my f***ing melon crushing, face hugging, muscular tasty quads. Do you mean these extra thick, deep fried, red stem, juicy
I saw that! Disgusting pervert!
Dear God, why is it so thick? There's so much of it. The thickness. Thick. The thick one. Thick. It goes on forever.
One time is funny, two times is annoying, no?
You got pretty legs.
Thanks, man. And that's not all.
Thank you for changing my life.
He did the same joke about 3 times already. I don't think it's funny anymore.
Alright, time to get cozy. Ooh, that's the stuff. My warm, toasty cinnamon bun. My blanket is so soft, it's just so comfy. So comfy, so good.
What the? It sucks having a pretty young fan base on YouTube.
I'm not upset with y'all because I know you're mentally ill, which is why one day I'm going to open up a hospital.
Although I just wanted to quickly touch on this, Kaylin likes to say I accused her of sending not safe for work to children, despite how she never actually watched any of the videos and relies on her enablers to recap them for her. She claims she can't watch them for her mental health, but she just petrified of criticism. No, the accusation is that you endanger them, not that you actually hop in the DMs and directly send it to them. Kaylin's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but she's not that blunt. She knows no amount of sympathy baiting could excuse that. Not as bad as the former, but not much better either. But there's more, as Kaylin attempted to guilt trip me when I was minor, something she tends to do with others, as one time she claimed she wanted to f*** a minor because they hurt her feelings, before following up with her trademark guilt tripping. This is actually insane. Imagine a child and then attempting to guilt trip them in the same conversation. Nothing warranted this grown woman to fantasize about f***ing a child over Twitter spats.
I'm just a kid.
But back on track, Caitlyn tried guilting me in DMs, insinuating she was struggling financially when she suspiciously had enough money to create merchandise of her 2 OCs. It's odd she says this, as Caitlyn has made the claim her bow plush, one of her OCs, cost her $700 to produce, even doubling down saying a Reyna plush will be even more expensive. It's evident Caitlyn, being the adult in this interaction, wanted to abuse her position and power over me, even if it meant twisting the truth.
Don't get it! He bought my plushies! Oh my, yeah, you know he's done some weird to them.
We still aren't done, as on the same 18+ Twitter account Caitlyn allowed her minor friend to access, she made a tweet about browsing Bad Dragon while being in debt.
For context, Bad Dragon is a company known for making mature toys. I won't be able to go into exact detail on YouTube, but they're known for making toys which replicate the reproductive organs of animals, as in, to Cinderellas. So imagine what a regular mature toy looks like, but instead of replicating the appearance of a human male, it replicates one of a male animal, such as dogs, cats, horses, you name it.
Ignoring how Caitlyn is a potential zoo, said toys are typically at the starting price of $60 to $70, emphasis on starting price. Those things can go up to the hundreds, and that's not even accounting for shipping. Around the same time this tweet went up, she made a post announcing a GoFundMe.
あ、俺の名前はね。
This is just an editing note, but remember how Caitlyn on numerous occasions made the claim she can't work a real job, stating it's because of her disabilities. This would be reasonable, understandable even, until you realize Caitlyn was somehow able to create adult movies. In the DM leak, Caitlyn implies she sent her adult films to Nightmare Eyes before quickly deleting it. Later, Caitlyn states, I mean, I really took a risk there sending you my adult films, and it's really hard for me to top, but I think I've sent you videos of me topping. I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, I really do, but there is no way you're incapable of working a proper job, but perfectly able enough to get your back. In the UK, there are programs which accommodate those with disabilities to get jobs. I refuse to believe they don't have the same thing or something similar in America, one of the most progressive countries in the West. In no way am I reprimanding Caitlyn for her freaky films. I really don't care. I just find it insane she describes herself as if she's bedridden, can't walk, can't do much by herself when she's able enough to create adult films. Especially when taking into consideration, Caitlyn has admitted to self-diagnosing more than once. I don't know, I feel like if you can create such media several times, you can 100% get a real job like everyone else.
If you don't tell me, I'm not showing them to you.
Okay, that's fine. Bye-bye.
So you're telling me you're apparently in debt and or experiencing financial struggles, to the point you felt the need to vent to a child about it, created a GoFundMe, and even said in a public survey you're qualified for food stamps. And yet, you had enough to be browsing mature toy websites and create plush merchandise of your OCs. Did she just pull a Barlow?
Fellow presents from the chimney, filled with Christmas spirit.
The rest of Caitlyn's behavior are just kind of the mean allegations. She got her audience to witch on the foot because he said mean things about her dog. She'd commonly start arguments with children over Twitter as well, but like I said, they're minuscule in comparison to her bigger controversies. Grown women arguing with children over Twitter versus literally breaking the law. Not really comparable, I think. Oh, and I guess she compared getting criticized and harassed online to getting essayed that one time.
Jesus Christ, parasocial! You need to log off! Jesus Christ!
As a CSA survivor, this disgusted me to my core. At this point in time, the peak of her harassment were either children trolling or people calling her out on her behavior.
Talking smack about people's not cool. I know something about you. Your bike had training wheels until you were 10.
Nothing, and I wholeheartedly mean nothing listed, comes remotely close to essay. In no way, shape or form am I downplaying what she went through, but it's utterly repulsive to compare the feeling of your body no longer being your own to seeing mean words over the internet. If I call her out on this, she'll just simply bait, bring up her disabilities, or try another manipulation tactic. The worst part is, they usually work. So, I don't understand. What is Caitlyn implying I'm lying about? She has unmistakably endangered children and refuses to take proper accountability for it, but will instead look for any reason to discredit me. For instance, Caitlyn once tried discrediting me by insinuating I was racist for saying a word which rhymes was bigger. If it wasn't already obvious, I'm black, and Caitlyn was aware of this, but my race wasn't necessarily public at the time, and she obviously knew this, so she tried to use it as a gotcha against me. Yes, a white woman unironically tried policing a black person on the usage of a word they can reclaim, all for the sake of making me appear unreliable. Like I said, this woman is without a doubt malicious. On March 8th, I made a Twitter thread detailing the events which took place. Hey Caitlin Coy, why did you send adult content of yourself to one of your spies in my server just for him to send it to a 15-year-old? What's going on? On March 11th, 2025, 3 days later, Caitlin put out a response on the situation. It's quite long, so I'll summarize it here. Caitlin noted how Nightmare turned on his camera for her, admitted to flirting with him, claiming he was very forward, how Caitlin and her partner were alright with flirting with others. Caitlin then goes on to say, this is what led her to sending the sensitive imagery to Nightmare Eyes. She then claims, I quote, Nightmare Eyes revealed too much information to vAqeii while still being in the server, letting them know we had been talking privately. A member of V's community was then sent to threaten Nightmare Eyes with doxing if he didn't screenshot her DMs. End quote. So let's dissect this. Caitlin for some reason dedicates an entire paragraph to talk about her and her partner's relationship. For some reason?
We do not care.
Like, you're being accused of orchestrating a predator to spy on a bunch of teenagers. I promise you, no one cares about the ins and outs of your partner who is 9 years younger than you. Yes, Caitlin's partner is 9 years younger than her, by the way. Caitlin made the claim Nightmare Eyes revealed too much. The fact Caitlin at all said he revealed too much immediately adds to the notion she sent this guy to stalk us, if that wasn't already obvious. Not once in the response does she outwardly deny the main allegation, said allegation which holds her liable to begin with. I mean, it's not even like she can deny it anyway, the proof is right there. In the event, she got freaky with some random guy, some random Joe, a guy she didn't send to spy on teenagers, and he leaked her sensitive imagery to children. She would be a victim here, but that's not the case. Caitlin had the guy added on Steam. She's intentionally downplaying the nature of her relationship. And to preface, since I know Caitlin will try and use this against me, no, I do not think it's bad that behind the scenes, with another consenting adult, you went and showed him your frisky pictures. It's your life, I don't care. What I do care about is how this guy, who was actively used to spy on me, then goes to my server, makes the choice to specifically contact minors. This is the part which shocked me the most, because most of the active people in my server are literally older than me. People in their 20s, you know, people his age, talks to them inappropriately, and then sends said images to other children. She then claims a member of my community was sent to threaten Nightmare Eyes. Does she think we're the mafia or something? She claims the minor also forced him to send a sensitive imagery to them. What?
You have lost your mind. You have lost your mind.
There is no way a 30-year-old woman actually took the time to write a full response and unironically said a child forced an adult to share. You know what? Let's entertain the idea for a moment. By the very same logic, the other minors he spoke to, one as young as 13, must have forced him. You know, they must have forced him to say, I quote, "Hi, yes, I am the guy who gets over Steven Universe characters. And I'm such a e-gen, man." But I guess the minors also mind-controlled him to send a screenshot to them which had furry in the corner. Like, I genuinely don't know how Caitlin fumbled this. All she had to say was, this grown adult showed my sensitive imagery to children. I do not condone this as disgusting and I should have never interacted with this guy to begin with. That's all she had to say, but for some reason she had to try and sweep for him. I'm confused. It was so avoidable. Not only was this whole situation avoidable, but so was this. I mean, the kids he said this to, they must have forced him. Like, what type of logic is this? All Caitlin had to do was properly disavow the guy instead of trying to blame it on me by claiming it was my community. It's unfortunate, as Caitlin has a history of blaming all and any of her inconveniences on me and my community. I actually have a video dedicated to this. Like, when I say I have videos dedicated to this, I do. I've documented everything she's done. She has a pattern of this behavior. I'm not even joking. Some random deleted account made fun of Caitlin in 2019, and she, for some reason, tried blaming me and my community for it. To preface, I made my first proper video on Caitlin 2 years ago. 2019 was over 6 years ago! But I digress. Caitlin ends off the thing, acknowledging Nightmare knew the person he sent the sensitive imagery to was a minor. Goes on to cry about her trust being betrayed, and then further attempts to play the victim. This is just off script, but you cannot cry about having your trust betrayed. When you sent this guy to record my calls, to spy on my server, there is no way you can sit here and cry about having trust betrayed. You are a creep! You have no idea how uncomfortable I feel that a 31-year-old woman is actively stalking me, a teenager. Like, this is not normal. However, the penultimate paragraph is what really intrigued me though, as she stated, I quote, "I have not put minors in danger by consensually sharing my sensitive images private with an adult old enough to drive, vote, and drink." Are we supposed to give you a medal for finally talking about your adult life with people of age? Caitlin would be right here if she didn't deliberately have this guy on my server for the sake of harassing me, attempting to group my server members, and stalk teenagers. She's refusing to admit this would have never happened to begin with if she didn't send him over to be a stalker. Now, I'd like to say Caitlin isn't entirely at fault in this situation, but she refused to acknowledge where she's wrong. Like, isn't it so interesting? Caitlin intentionally left out the part where she sent this guy to stalk me. But you know, God forbid I call this out. Caitlin's many enablers and defenders will just skip to this part of the video and use it as an excuse to deflect and or attempt to vindicate her, but I do believe this is worth mentioning. Like I have mentioned in streams, community posts, the prior video I made on Caitlin, and these two videos here, I am obviously no saint in the Caitlin Koi drama myself. I've made mistakes, of which I've taken accountability for on numerous occasions, but I'll do the same in this video as well. When I was a minor, an apparent splinter group of the UTTP began attacking the Splatoon community. They started with another creator known as vAqeii. For those who are unaware, the UTTP are a malicious trolling group known for harassing creators, doxing, and more. The splinter group, who went by the LKJH at the time, originally contacted me with fake evidence attempting to convince me vAqeii was a predator. When I refused to fall for this, the LKJH then decided to set their sights on me. They spammed my DMs, of which I just muted them, spammed my comment sections, of which I just filtered them, attempted to raid my server, of which the server security stopped them, made a video attempting to paint me, a man at the time, as a predator, of which I kinda just ignored, and also leaked my Snapchat. I kinda just ignored them. Seeing as their attempts weren't succeeding, they joined a mutual at the time server and raided it, calling me a predator. They went out of their way to harass one of my mutuals, all in an attempt to get to me. So I used this as an opportunity to talk to them. Honestly speaking, I told them they weren't going to get what they wanted from me, and if they wanted someone who'd actually react to their trolling, they should go after Caitlin Koi instead. I was not wrong, but that doesn't necessarily make me right. Like I've said several times, I will never try and excuse this behavior, but instead give my reasoning. I was obviously younger and more immature. I had no idea they had any ties to the UTTP, nor did I even know what it was at the time. I just thought they were a bunch of persistent yet innocuous trolls. I didn't exactly see them as a threat. Like these guys had to go out of their way to rope my friend into this, all in an attempt to get onto my skin. Needless to say, they were not succeeding. The fact they needed to go after an entirely different person, hoping in the process it would piss me off, tells me they were genuinely one of the worst trolls of all time. As someone who used to be in harmless troll groups when I was even younger, I was fully aware of how they operated. With the prior information in mind, I also knew telling them to go away, as if this was just another episode of Dora the Explorer, wasn't going to work. Trolls feed off attention. The fact they couldn't get any from me, to the point they went out of their way to seek it from one of my mutuals, speaks volumes. So I made the moronic decision to tell them to go after Caitlin Koi instead, seeing as they were already orbiting the Splatoon community. I redirected them. I did this with the impression they just spam her comments a bit. Caitlin would block them out, as she has an extensive history of blocking people over the smallest things, and then this chapter of our lives would close. This was obviously not the case, as they've been harassing her for over a year now, and I apologize. I understand I am still a teenager, but I have grown and matured since then. This is not something I'd ever repeat. If I was under any pretense they do what they did to her, I would have never redirected them in the first place, so I wholeheartedly apologize and take accountability for this. I mentioned this in another segment, but I'm incredibly used to contacting older mutuals about issues like these, and instead of getting guidance, they'd use it as an excuse to ridicule or use it against me. I was put into a position where a friend was suffering because of me, and I didn't know what to do. Me, being a child, thought it was the best decision to just divert them. I obviously shouldn't have done this, and I honestly apologize. However, the mistake I made as a child in no way exonerates any of Caitlin's actions listed throughout the video. Everything listed here, Caitlin did as a grown adult, and has refused to acknowledge publicly, nor properly take accountability for. I went over where I made my biggest mistake. Caitlin is determined to avoid any semblance of accountability at any cost necessary. This is just an editing note, as I didn't see this while actually working on the video. A month after she made the original response, Caitlin was still crying about the situation she caused, as she made yet another tweet strawmanning the absolute heck out of the situation.
So let me get this straight. I'm a predator for sending sensitive imagery to a 21-year-old, a grown man who was flirting consensually with me. But it's totally not twisted to post revenge content in the replies of APG13 account.
No one who isn't a literal child or no troll called you a predator or getting freaky with a guy. I personally think it's weird both your boyfriend and the guy you made the choice to flirt with are both marginally younger than you, like almost if not a decade younger, but who am I to judge? Seeing how immature you are for a 31-year-old, I'm sure it's immensely difficult to find anyone your age anyway. But I digress. People found issue with how you sent said person to spy on literal teenagers, just for him to then go and prey on the very same teens you sought to spy on. You, Caitlin, are technically responsible for my server members almost getting and yet you do not care. This was something which is comedically left absent from your response, as it would damage the perfect victim narrative you're attempting to convey. Caitlin has always had a victim complex. She's incapable of being the bad guy in any controversy she finds herself in. I mean, it's blatant at this point. Trying to turn the situation to, what? People get mad at me for flirting with a young adult? It's not only disingenuous, but that's just not what people, and I mean people, not random trolls, are mad about. I mean, Caitlin obviously can tell it's probably not the best look to be 31 and getting into frisky relations with people who just turned 20 recently. Hence the many tweets she made crying about the situation. She's only upset she got caught in general. I just cannot fathom I just can't fathom being accused of sending a predator into a server full of teenagers, and the main thing that you're And the main thing you're concerned about is the age gap. Just to be clear, since people love twisting my words, I am not insinuating Caitlyn is a predator for the age gap here. They're both legal adults, and beyond the production of this video, I have no real obligation to care. I just find it hilarious this is what she's specifically focusing on. Like, she made her response mere days after my call-out post on Twitter. She knew what my main concerns were. There is zero room for excuses. I really shouldn't have to explain how this woman does not care about the well-being of children whatsoever. After the situation had taken place, someone else came out claiming Nightmare Eyes had done the same thing, which she did to me and Caitlyn to someone else. Only difference this time is, this person was a minor. They claimed, I quote, "As someone who has called Nightmare Eyes, I can say with certainty that he makes me uncomfortable. Each time we were about to end our call, he told me to say, 'I love you' over 20 times for no reason. Like we just met each other, bro." This was accompanied with screenshots, proving the alleged victim and Nightmare did in fact call more than once. Despite how we don't have a recording of Nightmare allegedly telling this minor to say they loved him, it does in fact follow this pattern of degeneracy.
Editing note, the alleged victim claimed Nightmare Eyes would ask them to say, "I love you" several times within call. When doing another sweep of the Caitlyn Coy flirt leaks, Nightmare is seen saying,
"Okay, I know we have just met, but you know when I told you about the 'I love you' thing? I would love for you to say because I will like no tomorrow."
This screenshot single-handedly serves to cement the notion Nightmare Eyes was in fact attempting to rizz up this minor.
However, what makes this even worse is, this testimony was posted directly under Caitlyn Coy's response, of which Caitlyn responded to, talking about how Nightmare said not safe work to her, applying to the minor coming out about their experience. So a child comes to you about the same guy you're spying on me and my server, and your first initiative is to talk to the minor about how a predator sent you not safe for work.
Something is wrong with you!
Okay, this is just an editing note since I don't think I was able to properly go into detail why this is inappropriate. Like, she literally says, "He was very forward. Literally on a second call he started showing me the not safe for work in his bookmarks. I was taken aback at first, but in the end I reciprocated. Who doesn't want to be desired?" You're saying this to a child who literally just said that the guy made them feel uncomfortable. You're saying this to a child. Like, I just find it crazy that the guy you were talking to is potentially a predator, and I'm being very generous by saying potential because the evidence we have is very damning. And the first thing that comes to mind is, let me tell this minor how he showed me not safe for work. Does no one else think this is crazy? There is literally no excuse for this. This account literally has minor in its bio. She saw this potential victim and thought, how can I make this about me? Caitlyn Coy, instead of taking accountability for not only saying this guy to SH me, but also having several minors from my community victimized by this freak, decides to somehow attempt to push the blame on me, something she's been doing since I was 16, and then mentions adult content in front of one of his alleged victims. You couldn't make this up even if you tried. I'm not even joking. How hard is it to just not talk about not safe for work in front of children? A reminder, Caitlyn posted this on her not safe for work account and has made the claim she goes out of her way to block children on this account. If you see my previous videos, you know this is a lie. As she's endangered minors on so many occasions, it's unironically criminal. Alas, this just further cements how she has zero care for the safety of children. A few last words before I actually get into the final thoughts. I just wanted to say, I hope this is my last ever Caitlyn Coy video. I do not wish to speak about her on this channel preceding this. This situation was weird, uncomfortable, creepy, and to be blunt, exceedingly parasocial. I want to leave this situation behind and move forward. I do not believe Caitlyn will use this as an opportunity to change, nor hold herself accountable for her actions. Caitlyn earnestly believes she's a victim and can do no wrong. But I hope with this video, people can finally understand what this woman has done to not only me, but others within the community. I understand I don't have the most likable personality. I'm not a paragon of virtue, and I especially have a lot of growing to do as a person. But what she has done is utterly foul, and she shouldn't get away with it. So let's summarize. Caitlin Coy worked with someone who had the intent to take my life. Worked with a predator who harassed and stalked not only me, but also my community, some of which were literal children, and upon making a response, she had the audacity, the gall, to victim blame the very people who were unfortunate enough to have any contact with this guy. Truth be told, this video was meant to be released several months prior, but Caitlin has been working with several other bad actors to intentionally delay this. I'm under the impression if you're privy to everything Caitlin Coy has done, and still feel the need to sympathize and or defend her, you are no better. Those who believe Caitlin is worth white knighting are not only enabling her behavior, but essentially telling everyone they don't care about victims, they don't care about the safety of children, and especially believe her behavior is acceptable. Unlike Caitlin, I'll admit I'm no saint in some situations either. I made mistakes and done things wrong, but I'm not the 31-year-old woman with several instances of refusing to change, refusing to take accountability, and endangering minors at almost every opportunity. I'm a teenager willing to accept when and where I was wrong. Caitlin, someone almost double my age, is incapable of taking even the first step of accountability. This is a dangerous, disgusting mentality to have, especially when taking into consideration what type of creator she is and the community she harbors. Someone who has zero regard for the safety of those who view her as a role model doesn't deserve to be in said position to begin with. So please help my experiences be heard by interacting with the video in any way you can. Caitlin Coy shouldn't get away with everything she has done. Thanks for watching.